Hello guys. So today I'm gonna show y'all how I personally edit my photos to, get the natural look that I usually go for. I have been asked previously what I do to make my photos how they are, but I haven't really said anything because, I like to gatekeep. But today I want to show y'all how I get my photos how they are. So we're gonna start with this photo right here. This is a photo I took taking pictures for the AAU team I work with this past weekend. So this is just a little warm-up shot, nothing too crazy. But the thing is about this photo is that since it's in a stadium or an arena, the lighting is generally really good. So first thing I do is I auto rotate it, make sure get it frame it exactly how I want it to be. I want to get the depth of the background a bit, so I'll expand the back of the image a bit more, and I'm left with this. So the first thing I always do with my images, since I'm so used to shooting in dark, dimly lit areas, I'll up my exposure barely. I'll up my exposure by about, in this case, it looks like between point 0.10 and point 0.30 is good. So I'll leave it about point 0.20. It's I see it's missing a little bit of color, so I usually will blast my things with contrast, but in this case, I want to add really only about plus 15. Because I can just bring out the little main colors, and I can do everything. I can bring out everything else with the other these things. Yeah. So with the highlights, it is pretty bright as you can see on the shoes and the court, just other things. It's kind of glaring. So I want to remove the highlights just barely. Now, I don't want to do all the way this because it just removes the color, but just barely, about -15. With the shadows, I also want to do the exact same so I can really bring out the depth and the darks. With the whites, I want to barely expand the whites, about, I'd say, +7. And we can already see here it's looking much better than the raw version because we do have a little bit of color. And then with the blacks, you want to remove the blacks by a bit. I'd say between -10 and -25 in this case, so I'll do 20. And then we already have, what looks to be a relatively natural photo compared to our raw photo. Now, with the actual color settings, I don't color grade in my pictures. I know that is very shamed upon in, the photography, videography, media community, but I don't color grade. I primarily use the color mixer. I'll get to that in a second. With the temperature, I'm very content with the temperature in this photo. Oh, I'm very content with the temperature in this photo. So I'll barely bring it down a bit, bring out the blues a bit. I like this. I don't like it when my pictures are too yellow. So I'll bring out the blues a bit, barely drop it. With the tint, I'll drop it barely as well. I don't really mess too much with the temperature, tint, or the vibrance. The saturation, I always increase my saturation by 20, always, because it really brings out more color than you saw before. And now with the color mixer, I usually always drop my yellows completely, but that just makes the picture dead. So in this case, I'll up the hue on the red just a bit, as well as the saturation. And I'll go to my purples. I always extend my purples. So I'll up the hue a bit, as well as the saturation. I ignore color grading because I don't color grade. With the texture, I expand the texture just a bit. Bring out the little details that you can see in the picture. But it is grainy, which I will fix in a second. Clarity, I as well enhance the clarity barely. I barely enhance the clarity. I don't do too much with the clarity because when it's like this, that's gross. When it's like this, what the hell is going on? I barely extend it. Dehaze, I barely touch the dehaze. I barely remove some of it. And with however you say this, I'm not too sure you still. Might as well decrease it just a bit. Sharpening, I don't worry too much about sharpening as, I fixed my texture already. So I don't need to do too much. And now with the noise reduction. We can see in this image right here it's grainy. On the skin it's grainy. On the back it's grainy. So I will always shoot for 40. You can see that did kind of actually a lot. It's not really noticeable, but when you're editing 300, 400 to 1,000 photos at once, it's super helpful. I know what some of you are thinking. Holy, that is tough. I know, which is why I took it. So of course, we begin with framing it. So auto clearly did a horrible job, so I'll fix what it did right there and center the subject, right in the middle. That looks good to me, and I'll keep him here. This photo is lacking overall, color and, depth. So first thing I'll do, of course, it's just a bit dark. So I'll increase the exposure by 0.37. This is good. I'm feeling funny today. 0.35. Still, we're not done. So of course, bring it in between 20 to 30. In this case, 23 looks good. So I'll keep it at 23. Highlights. I don't really want to touch highlights in this image, but I will. I'll do negative 10. I always bring it down to see what it looks like if there was no highlights. But that looks bad, so I'll keep it at negative 10. Shadows. I want to decrease the shadows a bit. Negative 14 is good, because we still have the whites and blacks to mess with, as well as literally everything else. With the whites, again, bring down the whites a bit, as well as the blacks. Tint. I always bring it down and bring it up to see what it is. I'm very happy with how the color is overall, the temperature. I said tint? I meant temperature. Now with the actual tint, does it look, do I want it to be more green, more purple? No, I don't want to do anything. Vibrance, of course, bring up the vibrance just a bit, as well as saturation. With the color mixer, if I bring down all the yellows, it looks dead. So I'll bring down a little bit of the yellows, a little bit less than half, as well as the oranges, just a bit of the oranges, barely any oranges. Again, I want to increase the purples, as well as increasing the reds. Same with texture, you want to barely increase the texture. Increase the clarity just by a bit. Dehaze it, barely dehaze it. This, of course, bring down a bit. Detail. Oh, but yeah, you guys already know the drill. Manual noise reduction. It takes away all that grain that you see in the image. Still grainy, but you don't want it to look smooth. That is how I edit my pictures. Thank you. Okay, now we're dealing with a basketball photo that is taken in an arena that is meant for basketball to be played in. So, of course, like I always do, in this case, I was intending to post this on my Instagram account. So I do frame it to the 4:5 aspect ratio. I let it auto rotate, and I'm generally happy with that. So I begin with, when editing these basketball photos in college arenas, they're usually well lit, so I will barely increase my exposure. Barely. 0.28 is perfect. You can do 0.30, 0.25, it doesn't matter, as long as you don't blast it with exposure. So I said 0.28, whatever, 0.25. Contrast, there's already millions of colors in this photo, primarily red and blue, but you still want to increase it. I increased this image's contrast by +7, and I removed the highlights by -15. So -15 is good. With the shadows, I removed the shadows a lot in this image, -45, because there's a lot of stuff back here. There's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff in the stands that I don't want the person looking at the image to see. I won't take it away all the way because then it just looks, the stuff just looks out of place. So -45 is what I'll do. With the whites, I'll barely increase them, barely, because there's already so much white going on. And now we can see with those minor changes, it's already looking much better than the original, bringing attention to the subject. Moving down to the color, this, this, moving down to color, this image does not need any temperature change. It's already perfect how it is, honestly. With the tint, I'll actually increase the tint by 29. See, it already made it to me. It already made it 24 for me. So I'll barely increase this one by 30. Vibrance, I'm not going to touch the vibrance at all. And with the saturation, I know I usually increase it, but this time I'm going to barely decrease it. Barely. With the color mixer, there's so many colors in this picture. As I said, it's primarily red and blue. So the main colors I will focus on this picture is red and blue. With the hue, I'm not touching the. I'm not going to touch the hue at all because I'm not going to mess with the SMU colors at all. Saturation, I will increase my saturation by about plus 35, plus 32, 33, 34, 35, whatever, in this range. With the luminance, I will increase the luminance by plus 50. This just makes the red more. This just makes the red pop. It makes it brighter. With the orange, I'm going to do very minor changes with this, only decreasing the oranges by -10. With the yellows, if I remove all the yellows, there's no color on the court, and I want there to be as much color in this image as I can. If I increase the yellows, this little section of the photo takes away your attention. So I'll decrease my yellows by a bit, -30. But I will increase the luminance by 53, so the yellows appear brighter and more natural in this setting. I'm going to skip green and aqua because those colors are not seen in this image at all. Now with blue, again, I'm not going to touch the hue at all, but I will increase the saturation by plus 33, as well as the luminance. Similarly, I'll do plus 37. This just makes the blue brighter, makes it pop, especially on the jersey. That's what you see it most. I know you see it up here, and then you see it right here. But on the jersey, you can see it where it's the most bright, as well as the red, which contrasts it very well. With the purples, you will touch the hue on the purples on this one, barely. Plus 19 is good. And with the saturation, plus 35 as well. With the effects, again, increasing the texture, barely. Plus 16 is good, as well as the clarity to about the same as the texture, plus 15. It just brings out the textures a bit. You can see the sweat a bit better. You can see his tattoo. I'm not going to touch the dehaze or this at all, as well as the sharpening. I'm not going to touch the sharpening. Now with the manual noise reduction, I will bring this up to 30. I don't want to take away this image completely because he looks smooth. Where did all his skin go? So I'll do it barely. So you can see and remove some of the grain in this image. And this is how I edit this picture.